Hello again. Welcome back. So, couple things to update you on. I actually filmed 2 videos and both of them I accidentally deleted because, like I said, I'm new at this and I'm not that good at it yet, obviously. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick what those videos were about. So I set up my planner. Over here is where I'm going to be writing scriptures that I find in my daily scripture readings that I think are really profound or speak to me and what I'm going through in my life. I'm leaving this page blank. I went through and I just really quickly put some color dots in. So the green ones are start and end dates of semesters for my job as a teacher. The purple ones are start and end dates for my classes that I'm taking for my career change. And then the pink ones are just important, don't forget about this in my personal life. Then I set up my 2020 budget, monthly budget, and my goals. I didn't do like a year-long budget because I am in the middle of a career change. This is most likely my last year teaching before I transition to a new career. So I don't want to plan a yearly budget just yet. I want to wait and see what's going to happen mid-year. Luckily, I will get a paycheck from teaching until the beginning of August is my last paycheck. So I do have some time to figure it out and make sure that whatever it is that's happening next financially is in line with where I'm at in my life and that I'm able to still afford everything. So that's kind of up in the air right now. I wrote out my monthly bills and then I did my goals. My goals, I had 5 originally. 6 and 7 are kind of like, it's good to do this, but if you don't, it's okay. So my first goal is to stick to my budget, obviously, right? Like that's the whole point of me filming these videos and doing this is to make a budget, stick to it, and hold myself accountable. I want to read 1 book a month. I do the Popsugar reading challenge. I've tried to do it the last 3 years in a row and it just has not worked out for me yet. So I'm gonna start small and work my way up, especially being in school, to just do 1 book a month. Do 5 things for myself a month. Work out at least 4 times a week, daily Bible verses, and new recipes. So these 5 are all they're built around the idea of self-care because I feel like this year I did an okay job at self-care and then I just kind of crashed. Like I either spent all my time at work or I was doing school and work or I just didn't really take the time to like cherish myself. Like I love to work out. I really, really love working out and I hadn't worked out for like 2 months straight. It was really frustrating for me. And so if I make these goals centered around my self-care, hopefully I'm more inclined to stick to it. I also have 24 ounces of water a day, which I know is nothing close to the 8 ounces we're supposed to drink a day. However, I am a teacher and some days the end of the day comes, I sit down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not eaten anything today other than an energy bar, or the only thing I've drank all day is tea. And then I get home and I just want to sleep and relax, you know? So 24 ounces a day seems small, but I also drink like 16 ounces of tea in the morning. So that's it's a half decent liquid intake, I guess, for where I'm at. I also made my book list for the year, my 2020 reading list. So like I said, I do the Popsugar reading challenge, and basically they give you 40 different prompts, and there's 10 advanced or like additional prompts for a total of 50. And it's kind of, I use it to broaden my reading horizons. I am obsessed with historical romance novels. I started reading them when I was 13, and by the time I graduated high school, I had over 400 books in my personal collection. And so, so I mostly read just that, and I wanted to broaden my reading horizons. So these are the 12 books that it is my goal to read this year. So the prompt is up here and then the book is here. So the first book, these aren't in order either. I am going to kind of just go off of where my mind is at that month and see what my mood is. The first book I touched on a shelf with my eyes closed. So I went to the library and I was returning some books that I borrowed for my students. And I went to the romance section, of course. I got Seduced by Scot by Julia London. It's basically about this girl who she got ruined in a scandal, and they have this like kind of like Olivia Pope, like a fixer guy, and he's like, we got to get you married, but of course they have to fight their emotional feelings, and it's great. A book I meant to read in 2019, I chose The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. I hope I'm saying her name right. I read her other book, I can't remember the name of it. It's the first book in this series, and I loved it. It was great, and I wanted to read this book in 2019, but every time I went to the library, it was checked out. I ended up getting different books. A book published the month of my birth. I was born in September, so I chose Everything by Nicola Yoon. I also wanted to read this in 2019, and I never got around to it, but I saw the movie, liked the movie, and I really wanted to read the book because books are always better than the movie. I mean, that's my personal opinion. A book featuring one of the 7 deadly sins. I picked 7 Ways We Lie, and it doesn't feature one, it features all 7, and I thought it was a really interesting concept. All the students are in high school, and there's a scandal or something. They all have to band together, if I remember correctly. A book set in a city that has hosted the Olympics. I chose Cinder by Marissa Meyer. It takes place in Beijing, and it's basically Cinderella, but Cinderella's a cyborg. What? So I'm excited for that one. A book with a map. I chose Magic Study by Maria Snyder. So this is the second in a series. This is also a book that I have wanted to read for a while. The first book is called Poison Study. It's really good. Like, I finished that book probably in like 2 days because it was so good. I started reading Magic Study. It was a little bit slower than Poison Study for me, and I had to return it to the library. I just never checked it back out again. So my goal is to read and finish it. A book with at least a 4-star rating on Goodreads. I chose How We Disappeared by Jing-Jing Lee. This book is about comfort women in World War II. It's a fictional story, it's fiction based off of a real life, I believe. But basically, it's about comfort women in World War II. So when the Japanese invaded some cities in East Asia, they took women and would keep them basically as SEX, SLAVES. So that's what the book is about. A book with the same title as the TV show or movie but is unrelated. I chose The Bachelor by Sabrina Jeffries. I mean, obviously, I think The Bachelor is one of the most well-known shows in the whole entire world. I haven't watched it in a long time. Like, the longer I'm single, the less I want to watch it. Probably because the more I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do that. And I don't want to be on The Bachelor. But it's a historical romance novel. Of course, I have to put a couple of those in there because that is my heart. A title that caught my attention. I chose The Selection by Kiera Cass. I think her name is Kiera. I'm going to just say Kiera. It's basically about like a girl, like there's a selection of like 40-something girls who have to get a chance to marry the prince or something like that. It kind of gave me, reading the synopsis gave me a little bit of like a Hunger Games type feel to it. So it seems interesting. I want to read it. A book with gold, silver, or bronze in the title. I chose Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. It is a play on Rumpelstiltskin, which is one of my favorite fairy tales from childhood. I think it is one of the more underrated fairy tales. So once I saw the synopsis was basically Rumpelstiltskin, I was like, yes. A book with a book on a cover. I chose Autoboyography by Christina Lauren. This book is about a boy who is LGBTQ. His family moves and he goes back in the closet, and then he has to like write a book in 4 months or something like that. And it just, I don't know, the synopsis seemed interesting, so I want to read it. And the last one is a book with a subject I know nothing about. So I chose The Girl with Seven Names by Hyeonseo Lee. So this book is her real life story. It is basically, so she was born in North Korea, if I understand correctly. She was born in North Korea. She defected, which means she left, I think. I know nothing about living in North Korea. I know nothing about what it's like for people once they leave North Korea. And the title was really interesting too. This is a book that I wanted to read last year as well, and I never got around to it. So these are the books that I'm going to be reading this year. I'm super excited. I don't know yet which one I'm going to do first. Since it's still 2019, I'm excited, but I feel like I should maybe not start yet because it's not 2020 yet. But I'm leaning more towards Seduced by the Scot, just because the other books I can read at school because it doesn't have like anything crazy on the cover. But Seduced by the Scot, it's a historical romance novel, right? So you have like guys with their shirts all open and stuff, and that's just not really a book I want to bring to school and read during like my lunch break or something. So I might read this first and just get it out of the way the first week of the year because we're on Christmas break still. Also, if I do say I finish this book early, I'm not allowed to read these other books until the next month. That way, if I want to read another book, I have to pick a book from the prompts. So I have to pick a different prompt and a different book. I cannot read these. And that is how I want to, I challenge myself that way because I want to read one book a month. That is the goal. And so if I save these books that I'm really interested in and I really want to read, then I force myself to also read other books that aren't on this list, and I can save these books for the various months. So thank you for joining me. I'm sorry that I didn't get to show you the like actual planning of this, but hopefully you enjoy. If you want to read along with me, I would love that. I'll probably do book reviews because like I said, I am a total bibliophile. I love books. I love reading. I just haven't really gotten around to do it lately, but once I start reading, it's like it never left my heart. So there we are. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.